Leave it all behind, the dead thoughts, the decaying worries. You are meant to do more than rot. Bloom endlessly, touch the unknown, spiral into the depth of reality, so you may leave this world bursting gloriously. Okay, so I did get to do some anatomy study today, but I didn't do the muscles like I said I was gonna do yet. I'll do that after this video. So what I'm gonna show you guys today is the skeleton part. That's what I learned. So the skeleton is what I learned today, waking up this morning. And it's actually not as much as I thought it was gonna be. I thought it'd be a lot harder to know all the bones, but it's actually not that many crucial bones in the structure that we need to draw. I mean, all of the bones that we need to know are pretty big. And I actually remembered the bones too. I kind of tested myself. So you'll see that as I go through it and draw it, I'll name it as I go. I think that's a good thing to know too, is to just know what you're drawing, the actual name of it, and you can say it as you go, and it's easier to remember. Because it helps you remember not just what it is, where it goes, but how it's positioned. All that matters when you're trying to draw it. So yeah, that's all I've done today, is just the skeleton thing. I'll start learning the muscles today as well. But I'm actually learning it pretty fast, I feel like. I don't know, maybe it's just easier since I've been drawing for like the past 2 months, so it's sticking pretty well. And it all makes sense. The way the teacher that I'm going through, Mark Brunette, he explained it is just so well. It's all in boxes, and then he breaks it down from those boxes to the structure of what it is. So it's pretty easy to understand. So that's all we're gonna go through, is the skeleton. So since I'm not that fond of warming up, I might just get straight to it. Because honestly, I don't even know what I'd be drawing during these warm-ups. I kind of just draw geometric shapes. I mean, I guess that's good enough as a warm-up, right? Because that's really everything else I draw. The torsos yesterday, was a triangle for the traps, and then a rectangle for the torso, triangle for the hip area, then triangle for the shoulder, and rectangles for the arms. So I'm using them constantly. So that's good if I keep warming up how to use them. And yeah, I'll probably break it down just the same way out with the skeleton. I'll probably break it down into geometric shapes so that I understand it better, because I just learned it today. So we will see how that goes. So I'm just gonna get to it. Okay, we're gonna get into the skeleton first. And yeah, that's what I'm mostly gonna go over, the skeleton, and probably do a torso after that to see if knowing the skeleton helps me draw the torso more accurately. From reference, of course. So we're gonna start with the the rib cage. That's the first one. Rib cage kind of fits in a rectangle, I remember. So rib cage will fit there. And then the hip can actually be found if we take the rectangle and duplicate it, basically. And then we cut this in half. Oh. And this would basically be empty. So the middle part is empty. That's where the spine would be. And then the hip would be in here. I haven't really well, the hip shape is like, it's like two separate bones. That's why I'm like trying to remember what the bone looked like. It was like this. There you go. Something like that, yeah. That looks like it. That's generally what it looks like. There's some other extra things like right here and stuff, but that's a little bit too detailed. That's gonna be covered up most by the, you know, the muscles and fat. So we have the hip there, then we can draw in the thoracic cage, or the rib cage as most people call it. It's like this. It's like a cut off that side. Cut like a triangle pizza in the middle. And then cut off this side. And round up to the top. Yeah, that would be that middle part. Then there's the sternum right here. Which a lot of the muscles connect to. Then there's like about 10 bones for the ribs on each side that go around. But don't need to draw on that detail really. And then what we have here is the clavicle right here. Yeah, clavicle there. The spine would obviously go through here, and up some. And that's where you'd have the head. Yeah, like that. Then back here you have the shoulder blades, but they're called the scapula. Yeah, the scapula is also a triangle shape. And it kind of lines up with the clavicle. And I'm drawing it through, so this obviously this rib cage is in front. This is a bit boxier here, but this rib cage is in front of the scapula. So I'm just drawing through it so I understand where everything is. Actually, might go a little bit farther. That's good enough for right now. So then what we need now is the shoulder. Well, not the shoulder, but the humerus. Because the shoulder is made through the muscle, not really on the bone structure. And this would go about to halfway, I believe. What I'll do is I'll draw it in how I think it is, and then we can adjust it after. So this is the humerus. This little gap right here would be cartilage. So I'm not going to show that in the skeletal structure, obviously. So that's the humerus. Then we have I'm going to have the hands open like this. So we'll have the radial. This bone is too short, because the hand should be reaching all the way down about here. So yeah, this is off, so I put it down to the rib cage, which makes sense because I normally draw the arms down to like the midpoint anyway. So yeah, this makes more sense. Just didn't realize because there's no muscles. So that's the humerus. Then we have two bones here. This is the, what is it? I should label them actually. Just so I can really put it into my head. This one is the something radius, something like that. It's a radius something. It's not called radial bone. I'm gonna remind myself real quick. Oh, it's called radius. Okay, the radius. So it is radius. And then this is the one that's connected to the, well, it's closest to the thumb. So this would be the thumb, then the four fingers. And this one is the ulna. This bone creates the elbow, so it'd be behind. This bone creates the elbow near the pinky. So that'd be the same on this side. Radius and ulna. Okay, that's the whole arms. And actually, when he did the skeleton, he did the entire body. So I can go ahead and do that too. Even though our focus is the torso for now. But it's good to know the whole skeletal thing. I know this bottom part is like the same as this height. So about here. And halfway would be, yeah, so here. This is the femur. I feel like I'm spelling this wrong. Femur. Oh well, I'll leave it like that. That's the femur. No one will know when I'm saying it, but they'll know when I spell it out. So femur, then there's the knee, then there's also two bones right here. So it was the tibia, yeah, tibia. I remember it being like somewhat of a dime, kind of like a, well, that was probably just that drawing. But yeah, the tibia's here. And this bone is more, oh, is that right? No. The tibia's inside. The tibia creates the inside bump on the ankle. Those bumps in your ankles, it's the tibia that creates that inside one. So it would be like this bump right here. So that's tibia. Then the fibula creates the higher bump on the outside. Fibula. So and then it would be the same on this side. And obviously the feet are negligible right now because we're not on feet, so he'll go over that anatomy when we get to feet. But yeah, that is everything. Let me just write the names for these things. So the what is it? The shoulder blades is scapula. I don't know why I keep forgetting that one. Scapula. Rest right here is this is. Oh my god, I'm forgetting everything. Okay, this is rib cage. Clavicle. Oh, clavicle is this one. Pretty sure I spelled that one wrong too. Sternum. Humerus. Obviously spine. And that's the entire skeleton. See, it's not that difficult when you break it down, especially this is the only thing I broke down because these are kind of like, I could have drawn the rectangles too, but I already knew what they were shaped like they're bones. So I kind of just drew it in. But yeah, that's the entire skeleton. I think I remembered it pretty well. I can look back. This is the one I did for the study. And this is the one we did now. So, looks pretty good. I think the hip I could have done higher here. Yeah. Other than that, it looks pretty accurate. And this humerus, like I said, it should have been down here, like I thought. Because these hands should have reached probably about here. So the arm's a little stumped. But other than that, it's good. So now we can go to a reference photo. And then draw the reference with this new knowledge. So let's get it started. Right, let me make sure this is set right. Then, so I'll keep it the same. We'll start with the torso. Then we'll do the hip hack, or we do half this. Knowing this hip will be good for when we're drawing in the abs portion to create that V taper. I'm gonna just sketch it in because it might not be exactly there. This is what I see most artists do without all the boxes, but they draw this rib cage thing in. They'll draw a hip where the hip is, and that's how they draw all of their drawings. So knowing this is extremely crucial. Kind of just hint at the sternum right there, because that'll show where the chest is. Clavicle. This reference is standing straight on, so everything should be somewhat symmetrical. I see that on the reference, the clavicle actually goes a little bit past the width of the rib cage, so I'm going to do that with the clavicle. Then we can start with the traps like I normally do. Oh, let me put in the head. I'll try to gauge where the neck would be. I'll kind of just draw a long tube and then attach the traps where it should be. So I kind of angled like this on him. So okay, now I can adjust the neck. Goes a little bit higher. Then the rest is his head. And we'll not worry about the head too much, because the focus is the torso. Okay. A rough head is now in. So we'll work our way down now. Start with the chest. So I'm gonna draw this on the sternum, this middle part. And I'll draw it halfway down the sternum that I've drawn, just because it seems like that to me. Draw it kind of in and hint at this little line. We'll do the same for the other side, leaving a slight separation because the muscles aren't connected. I'm going to try to make it more symmetrical. Okay, so that's the chest. And now the bicep, or not bicep, the delts. It's just kind of a curve for him that stops right above here, this line. So it's going to be like stop right here. Okay, and we'll do the same on this side. Stops above here, so then it'll stop here. So I'll just make a curve. He's kind of standing on this side, a little bit heavier than this side, so it's somewhat slanted, and it's kind of showing in the shoulders. You can see a little difference. But now we'll do I'm gonna do the bicep next, because there's this crease right here where the trap and the bicep kind of meet. So I'm gonna just do the bicep because it's overlapping, and it goes down towards his belly button area, which is down here. So yeah, that is, feels like this is already off, this torso, because his hip shouldn't be, yeah, this is, because his neck is, well, I don't know. But that's why I'm doing this real time, so I can see where I'm messing up, or so you guys can see where I'm messing up. So I'm gonna just draw it in how I see it and see where we mess up. So that's the bicep. And then do it this side too. now I'm going to try to draw in this midsection. See, this midsection stops here. So right now, where I have the hip bone, I have it right here. This is where I'm drawing it based off the reference in me drawing. But my guidelines were completely off because I put my hip bone down here. So something off about what I did. One thing that possibly I did wrong was just not put this low enough, like the chest area, when I drew it in. Or I put this too high up. But there's something I put too high up and now it's like completely off from this guideline. But we're gonna continue drawing it with the reference, just so it's not, so it doesn't look completely off. Because if I follow the reference, his torso is gonna be like super long, like a whole box length longer. So that's it for this part. Then we have the abs, of course. His are pretty defined, so I can show them. They're like this. I was doing just an L yesterday, but I can do an entire W, actually, for the abs. Then the belly button's like there. With some lines for the oblique. And now we'll finish the arms. Based on the reference, I'll just eyeball it. The forearm tends to be longer than this section. The forearm normally is longer. So I'd probably stop right there. Something like there. And we'll do the same on the side. Okay. So there is the body trying to use, at least attempting to use skeletal information. I was pretty off with this, so I'd have to practice with it more or play with it more and see what I did wrong. But I will admit this reference right here, this reference drawing looks already a bit better. Well, I would say it looks the same. I probably just put more detail in this one. But this one from yesterday. Yeah, this one from yesterday. And this was today's. So it might be a bit better. I feel like I was a bit more fluid because I wasn't trying to figure out what I was drawing. But yeah, we're gonna just leave this mistake here. I don't want to erase some mistakes because I'd like to look back at the sketchbook and say, oh, I see what I did wrong. But yeah, that's it for today's. I'm gonna study the muscle parts of this, so these are more accurate. And that's what I'll probably go over tomorrow. So, see you then.